think I will go ahead and get started since we record these sessions anyway. Agenda for today are enhancement and fixes for the Home tab, and I bet people aren't even all that aware of the Home tab. Enhancements and fixes for issues, testing, plans, and then, oops. Okay, let's fix this. It should just say tip of the month there, and you'll all excuse that. Okay, for the home page, at some point we had lost the ability to edit a project name, and that's been returned. And I can show that, but that one is pretty simple. It's a right click and edit. We've done some enhancements for issues. This is something I think people have been looking for quite a while, the ability to link an existing issue to another test step in a test round or to an activity in a plan. And now you have the ability to do that. There was an issue that was fixed when you updated a in-progress activity to say that there was an issue for it. It didn't change the status to issue, and that's been corrected. And we fixed an issue for both issues and notes. If you didn't fill out a required field and clicked save, instead of giving you a warning message, it just disappeared, and now it warns you. Fixes and enhancements for testing. There's a new icon that's been added to the breadcrumb for task steps, workflow steps, and for the scenarios page. And that's to show you when the task workflow or scenario that you're working with are in a project other than current state. Also, when a scenario is added to a test round that has steps for more than one facility, a column containing the test step facility now shows. If you're a site that only has one facility built in TransIT, it doesn't add that column in unless there's more than one facility, like I said, and that's to save real estate on the screen. We've done some updates to plans again this month. We removed type, category, and group columns from the base plan when you now click the plus to create a new plan. And when we did that, we took all of the existing plans that were using those fields and converted those columns to have drop-down lists for all of the values that were already in those columns, and also gave the ability to, for any column like that, to create a drop-down list to validate the fields in that list. So to get to that, there's if you want to add multiple at a time, you can do change column, right click and change the column and do manage drop down values. Or if you just want to add a single new value, you right click and you do add new value. So no one should see any difference with any of their existing plans, but going forward, there's fewer base columns and you have more flexibility and ability to customize all the columns that are there. We did some updates to the percent driver columns as well. A lot of people are starting to use these percent driver columns, and we realized that people needed the ability to add and remove columns once a plan was already in progress. So people who were doing charge validation and all of a sudden decided that, oh, they maybe didn't want something to be a percent driver column, and so they removed the percent driver. We had to give a way to be able to recalculate the percent complete on all of the existing tasks. Or if they were in the middle of a plan and they determined, like I did with one client yesterday, that there was actually 3 more columns they wanted, then as well you needed the ability to get the percents to recalculate. So now all you need to do is select the rows. And of course, if it's the whole plan you're doing it on, then you need to right click first and do page size all, select the rows. And after selecting the rows, right click and choose recalculate progress. And then the tip of the month I'll show you, and this one was an interesting one because a lot of people even at Make didn't really know we had this, which is there's a teal icon that's got some white markings in it that's on several pages now, and it's on the issue dashboard, the issue page, the test dashboard, both for functional and process-based tests, and the test steps. And when you click that icon, what it does is remove the filters. So if you're in a plan and it used to be that you wanted to show all the activities in the plan, including the completed ones, you would have to go and change the filter to remove all the filters there. Now you just click that icon. So hopefully people saw that icon appear and hovered and figured out what it was. And now I will go back and show you some of these things. So basically on the project page here, which is your home page, also the projects page, if you decided you wanted to change the name of a project, you didn't used to be able to do it, and now you can. So if I wanted to go in and update this to a more current name and save it, you have the ability to do it. And obviously, it's not used that often, but if you made a typo, it would be horrible to have to live with the project name spelled incorrectly the whole time. So that was the home page. Then for issues, it used to be that if you had an issue logged for something and that issue was for more than one item, that you couldn't really add that to multiple things. So now if I went in and I wanted to say that this step 2 was also related to issue 292, I can right click, choose issues, and do link existing issue and put in 292. And instead of it creating another issue out there, it just marks this one as flagged as opposed to a new issue so that it doesn't impact your totals on the front page, but does associate to that issue 292. If I fat fingered the number and it wasn't really 292 I wanted to do there, then I can unlink the issue and go in and relink the right one. I noticed it didn't reset the flag there, so I'll have to log a ticket for that. But at any rate, this is much better than for not having 50 of the same issue logged. And this works like this on the test round page, or sorry, on the test steps page. And the same is true in a plan. So if you went into a plan that had an issue, we'll go in here and say I wanted to link issue 282 and 281 to here. I can right click and do issues, link existing issue. I have to enter them separately. So if this was also related to issue 281, and then I also, sorry, 280, and I also wanted to associate it to issue 281, then I have, whoops, I guess I don't have the ability to link two at once. Not sure why it didn't let me do that, because it should let me do that. I guess I didn't do a great job testing yet. Oh, no, it does. I'm not sure what I did wrong up here, but it does let you link the issues. The other thing that I was saying was when you go to log an issue, so wherever you are, wherever you click the add issue button, it now correctly tells you. So if I click save here, then it tells me I can't save because the issue title is required and I have to put in the title. And then I can save it. And what was happening previously was it was just completely disappearing. For testing, more really for testing in general, but in tasks and other places, if you were to go into I don't know if any of these have tasks in them. Okay, so if I'm going to go inside this task, then it now shows me in the breadcrumb here that this isn't a current state task, that it's actually in the project rollout. So I'm not sure how many clients are using projects, but it makes it easier to know that you're not just working with current state. And the same thing would be true in workflows. If you were in a workflow that was not in current state, so this one here that isn't, when you're inside, it shows you that it's not in current state. So it's just to make sure that you don't mistake this as being a current state workflow scenario, task, whatever level it's at. And then we do have a lot of clients now who are using multiple facilities. Originally, a lot of clients didn't have a lot of facilities set up. They just did all their testing in one. It looks like this one has multiple facilities. So now you see this scenario here, this AMP, ortho, OP, surgery, rehab. It's going across multiple facilities. It used to be if you put that into a test round, inside the facility column didn't show. So if we create a new test round for AMP, ortho, OP, I guess it was AMP dash ortho maybe. When you go inside the dashboard and access the test script, it's going to show you in the facility column here. And here's our little blue icon that we were talking about for our tip of the month. So if you go in and see now, it shows the facility column here. And if you're set up and you only have one facility, that column won't show at all, so it doesn't chew up real estate. But somewhere in here, it must change to Sawgrass. And it just makes it easier for people who are trying to execute the test steps to know where they're at. Moving on to plans. So it used to be that in all of the all of the plans that were created, you had type, category, and group automatically added. So what our conversion did was change these to all be drop-down lists. So if I wanted to change something that was in here, it pre-built the drop-down list. So I had activity and backload. And so if I wanted to make it activity, then I could make it activity. If I wanted to add a value here, I would right-click and do change column. And if I wanted to just add one value, I would do the add new value. If I wanted to manage the ones that were all there or add multiple at a time, I would click here. So if I wanted to add a third category or type, then I can add that third type to the list here. And then when I go back to that plan, and I actually think I have to hit function F5 to get it to refresh. But once I do that function F5, then that value is available there for selection. So that's if you were already using a set format for a plan and you wanted to keep it. But the reason we did it is because we've streamlined plans in general. And now when you, sorry, when you create a new plan, and I go into that plan, you see type, category, and group are not there. So these are the standard columns now. And then you have the ability to add any columns you want and any of the types you want by just clicking change column and choosing custom columns. And then to add a field, you add the field. And what we've been doing a lot of lately is creating tick boxes. So a lot of clients are using TransIT plans now for backloads of data or for doing charge validation, things like that. We're using at one client site, they're doing a Kairos implementation, and so they're using it to do their validation of all of the provider data that was uploaded to the Kairos database. So they've got a whole bunch of columns across here. If you did want to add a column, that was a checkbox. To add a checkbox column, you choose the data type of number, and then you choose text box here or checkbox here. And then if you want it to drive the % complete, you choose this box here. If you don't, then it just becomes a selection box. But by choosing the % complete, as we went over last month, what it does is it says, let me check how many of those tick boxes I have. So if I add my activity here, because this is the only % driver column that exists, when I tick this box, it's going to automatically mark the activity as complete. If I had 3 different things I was tracking for this, then it would have marked it 33% complete. But a lot of clients are finding a lot of a lot of benefit from the ability to use these plans for checklist type activities. Other things. And I had a couple of places where I had to, I don't really want to screw anyone's stuff up here. Oh, maybe this will be okay. I had a couple of clients where they added me to add one or more columns after they were already in flight, or where they decided to remove one of these things as being a percent driver. So for example, one of the clients was choosing one of the percent completes when they registered the test patients, and then they realized really the test patients were more just prerequisites for completing the testing. So they decided to take that column off. And when they did, none of the percentages recalculated. So if you do go in and add another column here, so say we went in and added a new column, and doesn't matter what we call it. So when you went back to the plan here, you see this one said 40% before, and it still says 40%. And so if I want to recalculate the percent complete, because I've added another box in there, so it's actually less complete, right click here and do the modify, recalculate progress, and all of them. So you see this one changed to 50% and this one changed from 40 to 33%. So it doesn't automatically do it because some of these plans have like thousands of lines in them. So rather than have an impact on the performance of plans overall, we decided that adding and subtracting columns was something you do less likely than not. So it is a manual recalculation. And this is another one of the places where you can see this all activities button. So it's here, it's in test steps. I know people often get frustrated having to come in and remove all of the statuses here to just see everything that's there, all of the complete tasks as well. So now you would just click this. So if I go and complete this one and refresh the page, this doesn't disappear because I've told it I want to see all issues. Those were all of the things that I had to show for today. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Okay, if not, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, Patty.
Bye, Pam.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.